press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello all, how are you? I hope that all are doing good at home. And today I am here with you with a new poem, The Tiger in the Zoo, from your textbook, from your CBSE 10th English textbook, is it? So in earlier classes, we had completed some of the poems, so which is quite different, and this poem is quite different. So what we are going to learn today, okay? And not only learning, we are enjoying this one, enjoying with so many poetic devices, with the different meanings of an animal which is present in a forest and also the zoo. So especially it is the poem about the tiger which is contrasting between the tiger which is present in the zoo and the tiger which is present in the forest, the jungle, the wildlife, okay? Before I am going to start a poem, I wanted to introduce about a poet. The name of the poet is Leslie Norris. Leslie Norris, he was born on 21st May 1921 in United Kingdom. And he was a winning prize. He was a winning prize by Wells and also a poet, a short story writer. He has won a lot of prizes and awards. He was a short story writer and he is nothing but a Welsh poet. Welsh poet is nothing but the place, it is a language which belongs to the Wales which is present in the Britain, near the surrounding of the Europe or Britain, okay? So this is about a poet. So now I am going to read the poem first, then later I will explain about what the poem is contained, what the poet and this poem is wanted to tell us about the tiger which is present in the zoo and which is present in the forest, okay? A tiger in the zoo. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage, on paths of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. He should be lurking in shadows, sliding through long grass, near the water hole where plump deer pass. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, bearing his white fangs, his claws are terrorizing the village. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at a brilliant stars. Leslie Norris, okay? So this poem is very interesting. So it is contrasting between the characters of the tiger which is present in a zoo and which is present in a jungle, in a forest. The first paragraph, so it is telling about the tiger which is present in the zoo, okay? So it says about the behavior of a tiger which is present in the zoo. So let's see in these lines how it is going to tell us or convey us that how the tiger is present in this kind of situation in the zoo. He stalks in his vivid stripes. He stalks. Who? The tiger. The tiger stalks. Stalk is nothing but a moving, you know, in the tiger, in the zoo, and which is tied in a cage. It is present in a cage because if it is open and it can attack to anybody. So it is locked in a cage, okay? So it is moving. He stalks means, underline the word stalks. Stalk is nothing but a moving. It is moving here and there in the cage. Vivid, in his vivid stripes. The tiger have the stripes, you know, the lines which is present like a golden color, the white, mixed white with the golden color. So it is very bright color, okay? So that vivid stripes. So a tiger which is in a cage and in the zoo, so it is moving here and there with his stripes, a vivid, a colorful stripes. The few steps of his cage, when he is moving here and there with his few steps, okay? Cage, I told you, the cage means which is locked. The tiger has locked in in the zoo, which is called as a cage. On pads of velvet, quiet. Velvet pads. Underline the words. Pads are nothing but a paws. Paws. So the tiger which is attacked with his paws. So that is called pads, which is mentioned in the poem. In that line, pads are nothing but a paws. Of velvet, quiet. Velvet, quiet. You know the velvet, how it is, the cloth, the velvet. So it is very soft and delicate. Okay. So here it compares that velvet things to the tiger's paws, that is pads. So it is walking here and there in the cage with his paws. So how he is walking, how he is moving? He is moving or very slightly, very silently with his soft moving paws. Okay. So tiger which is moving with very silently of soft moving paws. Okay. So I told you, so it compares, the paws are compared to velvet, quiet. Quiet means silently. So silently he is moving here and there. In his quiet rage, rage is nothing but anger, furious. So tiger is in a furious, the state of mind of the tiger is, it shows in his gestures. That is, he is anger, he is a furious. Underline the word, rage is nothing but extreme anger or furious, extremely furious. Okay, so in the first paragraph, what we come to know about the tiger which is present in the zoo. Okay, so the tiger which is moving here and there with his vivid stripes which is present on his body, and his paws are very soft and delicate, and it is with his delicated paws, he is in a furious. The state of gestures of the tiger is in a furious anger. Okay, like it is. Then he should be in the second paragraph. Let's see what it is there. He should be lurking in shadow. Okay, he should be who? The tiger should be lurking in shadow. Lurking means moving in the shadows. So he is hiding himself from the shadows. Okay, so where it is? Sliding through the long grass. So this paragraph shifts the tiger postures or gestures from zoo to forest. Okay. Now in this paragraph, the tiger is present in the jungle or a forest. So there is a long grasses, in that he is hiding himself. Okay, hiding himself, and there is lurking. Lurking is nothing but a moving for a prey. He is slightly moving. Okay, for a prey. Prey is nothing but for food. He wanted to attack on animals. Near the water hole where plum deer pass. Okay, near the water hole there is a water and there is a long grass. So there is a deer also. The deer is also present. He is looking, he is hiding himself from the long grasses and is looking for the deer, for his prey. Okay, plum, underline the word, plum is nothing but a fat deer. Okay, it is a fat deer. So the fat deer is passing near him. He wanted to attack on it. Okay, so this situation is present in the second paragraph. It's about a forest, that for the tiger which is present in the forest. Okay, next, so we will move on to third paragraph. I think everybody has understood this first and second paragraph. So what says about a tiger in the third paragraph? He should be snarling around houses. Snarling, it's a voice, it's a sound. Okay, here snarling around the houses. So around the houses which is present in the forest near the village. So near the village there is a forest. So from the forest he is just making a sound. Okay, where the houses are there present. At the jungle's edge. He is sitting in the jungle's edge. So where the boundary are there for a forest. So where the village place is started, where the village the people will stay in a village, where that boundary started. So at the edge of the forest he is watching the sound of a houses. Bearing his wide fangs, his claws. Okay, bearing, he got it is his white fangs. Fangs are nothing but a teeth. Okay, fangs, F-A-N-G-S, fangs are nothing but teeth. eat his claws. With his claws and with his teeth. So he got something, what? Terrorizing the village. Terrorizing means he's making the village people are in a fear, afraid. Okay, with this teeth and also with the claws. Claws is nothing but a paws. Okay, so with that, so he wanted to make it terrorizing the village. The village people are afraid for the tiger. He is making them to fear. Okay, so this is about in the third paragraph. So in the third paragraph, this tiger is present in a forest and making the people in a terror situation. So let's see in the fourth paragraph. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars. In the fourth paragraph, in that lines, we see that he has locked in a cage with the concrete cell. Concrete, the wall is made up with the cement, sand and some of the materials. So that is called concrete. He is inside that wall which is made very strongly. The concrete is very strong. Okay. So in that he is present. His strength behind the bars. He is not showing his strength because he is inside. He is locked. He is inside the bars. Okay. Stalking the length of his cage. Stalking, again it is walking. So walking the length of his cage. How much the space is present in the cage. So within that he is moving. He is walking. Okay. Then ignoring the visitors. So it is this paragraph. So we can see that the tiger which is present in the zoo. He ignoring the visitors. He ignores the visitors. He ignored the visitors and he is not interested here. He not interested. He is just moving here and there. Okay, in the cage. He is not showing his strength because he is locked. He is locked inside the cage. Okay, so this paragraph, the fourth paragraph is saying about the tiger which is present in the zoo. Next, the last paragraph, the fifth paragraph, he hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at a brilliant stars. He hears the last voice at night. So in this paragraph, the tiger which is present in the forest, he hears the last voice at the night. So it is in the night time, so hears some of the noise. What kind of a noise? The patrolling cars. Patrolling cars usually says for a police cars. Okay, who is moving in it is not actual police cars, but the people who are in a duty or who are in a work. So which belongs to the forest department, and they are using the cars for their duty. Okay, to move inside the jungle. So he heard that sound. He heard that sound of the patrolling cars and stares with his brilliant eyes. Brilliant, a shining. Brilliant means not this brilliant. Shining. His eyes are very shining. It's shining like a stars. And he's staring at the car. He's staring at the car with his brilliant eyes, with his shining eyes at the brilliant stars. Okay, so he compares that shining stars to that shining eyes to that shining stars at the night. It looks like the shining of the stars, that his eyes. Okay, so this is about the fifth paragraph of the poem. So in the fifth paragraph, again the poet shifts the situation of the tiger from the zoo to the jungle, from the zoo to the forest. So this is about. So here in this paragraph, when we see that the tiger which is present in the zoo and tiger which is present in the jungle. In a zoo, he doesn't have his freedom. He has locked. He is not independent. Okay, it is not independent. He is not in a freedom state. But the tiger which is present in a zoo, he is completely freedom. He can do anything he wants. Okay, so that gives the contrast qualities of a tiger which is present in the zoo and which is present in a jungle. So like it is. So nobody, even human beings also not liking this dependent and also which is unindependent, we are going to keep inside, we are locked in the room. So we are struggling, but these people are also, means the animals also, so they are also alive things. They have the life, they wanted a freedom like a human beings. Okay, they are living their own life in a jungle. If we locked in a zoo, so what it happens? See, he is in the zoo, which is locked in the cage. He is not showing his anger. He is disinterested with the people who are visiting in the zoo, because he is locked. He don't have a complete freedom. But in another case, we see that the tiger which is present in the jungle, he has completely freedom. He can do anything. He can attack to anybody. Yes, of course, it is not good for human beings. But if it is present in a limited area within the jungle and he got his food or prey in the jungle, he can't move to the cities or a village or a countryside. Okay, so this is about the poet and also the poem who compares the Leslie Norris as comparing the two qualities of a tiger which is present in the forest and which is present in a zoo. Okay, and so you know that the government at present so many years back, the government has brought the right to freedom for our animals. The animals should be not killed for the sake of the entertainment. Okay, for a human beings, it should be the banned. And in the same case, so many people, so many writers and also poets, so they are also loves the animals' freedom. Okay, so we also leave them, let them live the life of their own, not in a city, in a forest and in a jungle. Okay, so we should not harm to the animals. So whoever they are, okay, either it may be the tiger, either it may be the small creatures. Okay, so we can see the two situations which is present in the which is present in the forest and which is present in a zoo. Okay, so this is about a poem. I hope that everybody has understood this stanzas very well. Okay, if you want to write some summary, so you have to compare the tiger's the quality of state. His state is from freedom to from a locked situation. Okay, it's dependent, and here is independent. So how he is moving, how he is not showing his anger, why he is not interested at the visitors who are visiting there. Okay, and he here is in the village, he is making furious to the village people. Okay, with his anger, with his postures, with his gestures. So you have to write the two things when you are writing about a summary. Okay, so this is about the tiger in the zoo. So now I am going to move on to the poetic devices. Okay, so poetic device is very important. Why? Because when our poet are going to write some poetry or a poetry, so he is going to use some of the poetic devices. Okay, either it is not standardized. It is not standardized. It can't give a complete sense. It does not give a complete meaning. Okay, so the people who are reading that poetry, it is not reaching to those. And why these lines are constructed. So there are some rules. So there are some rules and there are some principles to write the poetry in the form of poetic devices. Okay, so I hope that everybody has understood this poem very well. So now I am going to move on to the poetic devices. Let's see this. Poetic devices are very important for you, which give the extra knowledge for your exam purpose. Extra knowledge, which is the depth thing of the poet, and also the poetry. So the poetic device, we see this in the poetic devices. So which are the poetic devices here? The first poetic device is, you have to find out the rhyme scheme. So rhyme scheme. So this rhyme scheme is how you are going to identify the rhyme scheme. Okay. So here in the first paragraph, the in the first line at the last word, stripes. Okay, then in the second line, the last word, cage, cage. Then quiet, quiet, and then is rage, rage. So these are the words we see in the first paragraph at the end of the lines. Okay, so stripes, cage, quiet, and rage. It has some sounds. Okay, the rhyming sounds. So with the identifying of the rhyming sound, we have to write some of the, we have to denote ABC. Okay, we have to denote the words into ABC. So stripes, stripes, we mentioned this is A. Okay, then this is A. We denote the stripes in A. And these words are not repeating here. Like these sounds are not repeating. Stripes, so it is not matching with cage and quiet. So cage is different sound. So we should mention as a B. Then quiet. So three words are different sounds. Okay, different rhyming sounds. Stripes, cage, quiet. So quiet we should denote as a C. And now you know that this cage and rage. So that tells a rhyming sounds. Cage, rage. So what we do here? We denote this rage into B. Okay. Now the rhyme scheme is A, B, C, B. Okay. In the poem, so the poet is used, the rhyme scheme is A, B, C, B. Okay. So next paragraphs, whatever you see that, so that is also following with the same rhyme scheme. Okay. If you find out some of the words like shadow, grass, hole, pass. If you want to write these A, B, C, B, so you wanted to identify by yourself. So same rhyme scheme will be repeating here. Okay. So I hope that everybody has understood this. So now next I will move on to the next poetic device, that is personification. So personification. Personification which symbolizes living things. Okay. So living things, and animals is a living thing. And it compares to human being. Okay, how it is comparing human being? You know, animal, tiger, when it is an animal, what we use the noun for, pronoun for it, sorry, pronoun for it, not noun, pronoun for it, that is it. It symbolizes and it says the pronoun it. But here in the poem it used as a he. So it tells about a pronoun of a human being. It tells about a human being. It compares to animal into human being. So you can see that words like he starts in his vivid stripes, in his quiet rage. Okay. So it compares to the human being. So the personification. So what we find out here, it compares to he. Okay. It compares, the animal is compared to human being. The next is metaphor. The next is metaphor. Metaphor is nothing but the paws of a tiger compares to velvet. Velvet. So velvet cloth. The flowers, you can take the thick layer of the velvet, the rose. So you can feel it. When you touch that, you feel very soft, like a velvet. So his paws are compared to velvet. So it compare. Here metaphor is also compare. It's made a comparison to velvet soft. Okay. So metaphor is about like this. Next I will move on to enjapment. Enjapment. I hope that everybody is understood about this rhyme scheme. Personification, metaphor. Okay. Then next is enjapment. Enjapment. Without punctuation. Here the punctuation, no punctuation. Some of the lines of the paragraphs are not have the punctuations. Like in the first paragraph, you see that he stalks in his vivid stripes. So there is no punctuation. So in the second line, you can see the comma. Then in the third line, you can see the comma, and again at the end, it will be the full stop. So in the first line, it is not used, no. So that line is called as a enjambment. Okay. So that first line of the first paragraph says about used that enjambment. Okay, enjambment, poetic device, because there is no punctuations in that line. Okay, so like that in the second paragraph also you can identify the punctuations where it is used. He should be lurking in shadow. So there is a comma, and sliding through long grass near the water hole where plum did pass. So in the two lines, in the second and third lines, there are no punctuations, and in the fourth line there will be the punctuation. That two lines are not used any punctuations. So that two lines are called as a enjambment. Okay. So this is the thing. Next is fifth one is imagery. Imagery. So which means visualizing. So when I started explaining about the tiger, so everyone can, even me also can, visualizing myself, imagining myself, the tiger which is present in the cage, the tiger which is present in the jungle, then how he is furious, how he is anger, how he is showing that anger to the people in the village, okay, and their fear. So each and every situations we are imagining. So that is called visualizing. Okay, so whole poem is visualizing. It is called as a imagery. So this poem is a imagery. Okay, so the next is alliteration. Alliteration, which means here the sounds like he and hears. Like for example, in the poem you can see some of the words like his, then he hears at the last paragraph, he hears the last voice at the night, he hears. So what the sound says? The same sound is repeating, he hears. Okay, so then cage, rage. So those words are called as a alliteration. The next is assonance. Assonance. Assonance, which means here there is in those words, the words which is used by the poet, it contains with the vowel sound. Okay, so that is called as a assonance. What the vowel sounds like? Vivid, stripes, then quiet, okay, then sliding, then snarling, bearing, fangs. Okay, so these words are used with the vowel sound. So those are the words which is used with the vowels or called as a assonance. And the brilliant, his, with, okay. So there will be the vowel sound is present in those words. So next is oxymoron. Last is oxymoron. Oxymoron, it means that the words like quiet and rage. See, the quiet and rage. Rage is nothing but it shows the anger of a tiger. Quiet, when it moves, it moves very silently. Okay, so silently, and that anger. There are two different meanings, and it is used to give a one definite meaning. Okay, there are two different meanings. This is different meanings. It gives two different meanings. The words are contained with the different meanings, but it is used in a single sentence using together. It has used together is called as a oxymoron. Okay, so these two words are gives a different meanings, but it is using together is called as a oxymoron. So this is about a poetic devices. So in this poem you are understood about a tiger, how it shows the anger which is present in the zoo, and how it shows the anger which is present in a forest or in a jungle. So many visitors are moving in a zoo, so he is not bothering, and the village people also fear about this tiger. Okay, and he controls his strength. So which tiger is present in the zoo, it controls his strength, but the tiger which is present in a jungle, it is not controlling his strength, because he is having his freedom. He can do anything he wants, okay, in a jungle. So it compares the two qualities which is present, the tiger in a jungle and which is present in a zoo. Okay, I hope that everybody has understood this. Okay, so this is about the poem. So guys, keep learning, stay safe. Thank you.